Xbox just dropped some of the biggest news when it comes to Xbox and its future. They brought up Game Pass, Xbox Series X, and of course, their games being available to all gamers across platforms. Something that Sony isn't able to achieve. Let's get into the shade being thrown around and why Xbox is even more confident this generation than they've ever been before. Let's get into this. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, remember to hit that small little bell icon. It really helps out the channel. But enough of that, let's get into this crazy amount of information that Phil Spencer and the head of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, dropped on gaming fans. They not only talked about buying new studios and bringing new games to Xbox, which is one of the vocal points of the media drop they had, the biggest thing that people truly talked about was the amount of shade and attacks that was thrown at the competitors of Xbox. That's right, I'm talking about Sony's PlayStation 5 and how they distribute their games to us gamers. Now, of course, this is something that we've talked about before, and it's something that a lot of people say Xbox has the best value when it comes to providing games to gamers, especially if we want to play our games and our console and our PCs any way we want. Something that Sony just isn't trying to compete with at this point because truthfully, I don't think they can. All the while, Xbox is putting a lot of money in developers to make games for Xbox and also PC and cloud gaming, which is something that Phil Spencer himself mentions in this interview. Here's what's said. So right now, we're the only platform shipping games on console, PC, and cloud simultaneously, says Spencer. Others bring console games to PC years later, not only making people buy their hardware up front, but then charging them a second time to play on PC. Spencer is of course referring to Sony and its ongoing efforts to bring more PlayStation games to PC years after their launch. Microsoft obviously prefers its own approach to launching simultaneously across multiple platforms and being available on Xbox Game Pass on day one. Okay, so this is one of the most savage things I've seen Xbox say about Sony in a very long time, especially when it comes to paying twice. Because as we all know, Xbox as a platform is probably the most gamer-friendly platform on the market right now. We all know about Game Pass, and we all know that if you buy one copy of an Xbox game, it transfers over to PC and even cloud. So basically, you don't have to double dip on games. Oh, and did I mention those games are day and date on Game Pass? And Xbox hasn't made their games $70 either. All things that Sony can't say for themselves. Instead, they've hiked up the price to $70 on their games for no apparent reason, and then when you want to play the same game when it comes to PC, you have to pay for it again. Even if the game is 2 or 3 years old, it doesn't matter. You have to double dip to play the same game at a better performance, might I add, on the PC. You know, those old games that gamers say they don't want to play anyways, even though those games are selling extremely well on the PC platform even after years of being released. Because gamers usually like to go back and play older games that they might have missed. That's the benefit of having games when you buy them once, you can play them anywhere, and if you feel like playing it on PC or Xbox, you can do that, but you can't do that on Sony's platform. Xbox is the only publisher with a platform that can ship games on console, PC, and cloud all at the same time. That's right, every single game that's made from their first-party studios is going to have those games on all those platforms. And it's not going to cost us gamers a single dollar more. That's value, and something that is starting to become a rare commodity in the gaming world. Far too many times have I seen publishers and developers try to get every single dollar out of gamers' hands, especially console gamers. We just saw that with Battlefield and also 2K, where the games are $70 on next-generation consoles, yet on PC, they aren't $70. Even though they run better on the PC and have better performance. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. But all of that doesn't matter if you're an Xbox-centric gamer, because Microsoft and Xbox actually care about the people buying their games, and they want to show that they have the best value in all of gaming, which is what Phil Spencer talks about right here. For the first couple of decades, the only way you can play the game was to buy the game outright, and for many players, this can be an investment that limits their ability to play. That cost, the retail model, have limited the audience for creators in the entire industry. That's why we created Game Pass, to open up the ways that players can play more games with their friends, ultimately bringing in more players, making games more accessible to everyone. Earlier this year, we announced that our Game Pass subscription had passed 18 million members. And what's really surprised us is that it's transforming how our entire industry thinks about Xbox and how we can reach a wider audience. And we'll hear more about that later. And this is something that Xbox is going to hone in on for a very, very long time. The fact that you can get all of these amazing AAA games for such a great price. All the while, on the other side, you have to pay $70 for exclusives and pretty much all of their games if you want to play them on the PlayStation 5. That's after paying $500 for the console. So you're at almost $600 for a console and one game. That's a little annoying when you look at the fact that you can get a more powerful console in the Series X and over 200 games on Game Pass for far less money. And if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can get those games on multiple platforms at no extra cost to you, the gamer. That's the type of value you don't see from huge companies whose main goal is to make as much money as possible. Yet it's exactly the move Xbox is pushing forward with because they want to drive home that Xbox is the best value and has the most games for gamers to play on no matter what platform you're on. Especially for gamers who play a lot of games and not just exclusive games and that's all they care about. The benefits for Xbox gamers are starting to stack on top of each other, and it's something that Xbox executives are going to continue to push on gamers. Much like Aaron Greenberg is doing right here on Twitter when he says this: benefits of Xbox putting players first in our gaming strategy, you can play our games wherever you want and we won't charge you twice for the same game. There you go again with Xbox talking about putting the gaming community first in everything they do. And if anyone questions this, you have to question if they're actually a gamer in general. Because a lot of the best valued things Xbox is doing right now benefits only the gamers. Does Microsoft make a bunch of money and get a huge amount of goodwill from us, the gamers? Of course they do, because what they're providing gamers is something we've never seen before in the industry at all. They're investing so much money into gaming and finally capitalizing on the amazing software that Microsoft can give us and push the gaming industry forward. So when someone tries to tell me that Xbox isn't going to compete with Sony, I laugh at them because Xbox is already putting a massive dent in this generation. And I'm not just talking about the Series X, the PS5 sales success. We already know those consoles are selling out like crazy no matter which console is selling. What I mean is that Sony just can't compete with the sheer amount of content that's about to drop from Xbox. This E3 is going to be very telling for Xbox, especially since they have Bethesda's marketing team working directly with them on this E3. It's going to be the melding of two worlds and the changing of the guard for the entire gaming industry. Because for the first time in Xbox's history, they have so many AAA studios that can pump out so many games a year. And from what we're seeing, Xbox is trying to push out as many games as possible to Game Pass, so they can grab as many gamers on their platform as possible. So don't be surprised if Xbox continues to call out the shortcomings of Sony's PlayStation 5, from the gap in power to the first-party PC day and date, and even the amount of games that are going to release. Because while Sony has had an amazing PS4 generation that helped push this competition forward, gamers and everyone in the business care about what you're doing for them lately, or right now. And right now, Xbox is giving gamers the best value in gaming, while also giving them some top quality features and games. Sony is giving amazing first-party games and a great piece of hardware, but the price hike and the lack of software updates for expandable storage and the continued cross-generation lies has put a black eye on them. And you better believe this Phil Spencer quote and the push to show Xbox is the best place to play your games is another black eye that Sony just felt. And I have to admit, I'm surprised that Xbox is talking this way. They seem very confident about the PC platform, the Xbox platform, and their cloud platform. I think they know no one can really compete with that, especially if you have console, PC, and cloud at the same time. Can Sony bring out PC games? Of course they can. They've done it before. But I also believe that they're far behind Xbox and actually getting their games out on Sony's PlayStation 5 and PC day and date. I think that's going to happen in the next few years, but it might actually be farther than we think, maybe 3 to 4 years away. Either way, Xbox is truly the way to go if you want complete freedom in how to play your games. But enough of what I think about all of this. Tell me what you think about all of this. Do you think Phil Spencer intentionally called out Sony? What can Sony do in response to this? Is Xbox the best value in gaming right now? Is Sony going to try and compete with the amount of content Xbox is going to drop? Can Sony compete with Game Pass? Are you surprised to see Xbox call out Sony so blatantly? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I'm probably playing Ratchet & Clank as you're listening to this video, because I've been waiting for that game. I beat Warhammer Chaos Bane and I had a lot of fun with it. It's a Diablo-esque game that I really recommend everybody check out. It was on sale last I heard, but now I'm moving on to the PlayStation 5 because I really haven't played that much on it. Returnal was a little bit of a letdown. I enjoyed the game. I thought the graphics were amazing and the gameplay was great, but after time I got kind of bored. So Ratchet & Clank is going to be a nice breath of fresh air, a light game, a cool game that pushes technology, and I've been really looking forward to it. Ratchet & Clank was one of those games that I saw that I needed a PS5 for. I thought it looked awesome. I thought if they get this at 60 frames per second in 4K and they could have some particles and cool guns and just have a fun game, that's all I'm asking for. And I think that's what we're going to get. And after seeing the reviews, I'm excited to jump into that world. But let me know where you're playing. Are you playing on your PS5, your Xbox Series X, or are you on your PC? Or are you just waiting for E3 and all the announcements? Let me know down below because that's what we're here for, to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. And until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.